Mike. Have you heard Bring Me the Horizon? Look, what is this pansy ass emo bullshit? Mike. Have you heard the new Bring Me the Horizon? I get that they want to do the more accessible thing, but it just feels a little overproduced to me. So, Bring Me the Horizon just dropped a new track. Oh boy, this is indeed the greatest song I have ever heard. Thank you. I truly hate you all. Drink responsibly. Now, I don't listen to much Bring Me the Horizon or Boomth for short. I'm gonna call him Boomth from now on. Boomth. You haven't earned my multiple syllable usage yet. Hasn't really been my flavor in the past, but since becoming friends with more producer types, I've grown to appreciate them a lot more. Anyway, they just dropped a new track called Koolaid, and fans of the SSF live streams just got absolutely lit up. So let's check the track out. Koolaid is the latest single off of Boomth's upcoming record called Posthuman Next Gen, which seems to have some sort of Christian cult theme happening. A cult called Next Gen. So that gives us a little bit of context. Let's start with something I don't ever do. Let's take a look at the lyrics. We are the children of devolution, the infamous martyrs, the scars on the sun. Coming in hard with these I'm 14 and this is deep vibes. All jokes aside, if we take a look here at the first line, we are the children of the devolution. I mean, that would signal to me that he's talking about current society. It seems as though culture is devolving right now, and a lot of people kind of feel the same way. So with the children part, I would think of that as like, we are the inheritors of a devolving society. The infamous martyrs, the scars on the sun, surface level, I was like, this is just meaningless, dark symbology. It doesn't mean anything. But then I thought about it a little more, and like the infamous martyrs kind of reminds me of people getting canceled, and the scars in the sun being this perfectly bright light that people worshipped and walked towards and used as guidance. Now there's scars in the sun, which I would think is like this thing that you thought was celebrity culture, that you thought was perfect, now has some blemishes to it. I don't know. This scars in the sun line is a little vague and gay. Asphyxiating with a smile on your face while they pull your teeth out one by one. Some BDSM imagery for the scene girls with daddy issues. But it does seem like it kind of serves a purpose. The squeezing being like the pressure just taking the life out of you while you're trying to maintain this outward composure that everything's okay and everything's wonderful and bright. It gives me the impression of someone who probably doesn't want to be canceled, but wants to have the appearance that they're falling in lockstep with everyone else, even though they know something royally messed up is happening. Especially with the pulling your teeth out bit, I kind of thought initially it was just a cheap imagery for pain, but then I thought about it a little more and I was like, what about in the context of defanging? The whole time this pressure is coming in on you, it's also taking away your ability to fight back the more you wait. I don't know, could be completely wrong. Is this what you wanted? No. Do you want some more? Yeah. Degeneration, which has got to be easily the cringiest fucking line in this thing. And then who's keeping score? Now this makes me reflect a little bit more and think like, okay, maybe this isn't just about one side. Maybe this is about the extreme two-sidesism that's happening online right now. Because you got a taste now. Drink the Kool-Aid by the jug. So suffer your fate. Oh. Come here and give me a hug. Kool-Aid imagery in media is almost exclusively about cults, so then this brings me back to, he's probably just talking about one side because there is such extreme monoculture in cults. Nobody loves you like I love you, oh my dear, but you should have known that this was gonna end in tears. This language totally reminds me of the song that I just released called At One, particularly the line, come embrace me, feel me, and be saved. Here's a little clip. There's a number of parallels between each of our songs. I mean, talking about cult-like behaviors. We have some similar imagery, but Boomph is using more of the Christian cult, American megachurch kind of imagery, and I'm using more of the pagan, Gnostic, Hermetic kind of imagery. Now, my song definitely does not sound like this song. It's definitely not quite as digestible. It's gonna take probably more than one listen to really get it. Not to mention, it's a sequel that it really helps to have heard the first song to appreciate more the second song. But if you wanna listen to some music I made, I mean, check the link below. I'd love for you guys to listen to it and hear your thoughts. I'd be very curious to know what you think the song is about. Such a sucker for an execution. The void is a vampire. Ugh, fat on our blood. This first line, again, makes me think about someone trying to look for anyone else to cancel. The void is a vampire, fat on our blood. Makes me think maybe to steel man the lefties, maybe this is about mega corporations. Not 100% sure. The void is a vampire, fat on our blood. Look, I understand doing the cringe teen girl horror novel imagery is like their thing. It's on brand for them, but it just screams,
I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay.
Domesticated like a cat in a cage while they try their hand at playing God. The domesticated like a cat in a cage line definitely makes me think of maybe like Lockdown. Like the last EP was all about the pandemic, and this kind of harkens back to that, but it makes it feel like it's more planned, if you know what I'm saying. But it could also just be like living in a city center, being stuck in apartments or like cube style living instead of being able to afford your own property. While they try their hand at playing God, I would say just instantly from my own perspective, that would be the new morality of wokeism, if that is indeed what they're critiquing. But from the flip perspective, it could be this critique of corporate billionaire CEOs like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos trying to make themselves the end-all be-all of society and people's daily lives, or sending these rockets into space you could consider an act of God. Hard to say. Most of the lyrics are repeat or just kind of peripheral. My interpretation, I think this is a critique of woke moralism. And I don't think they're ever gonna say that out loud, but I mean, I just said it for you guys. Hey, Ollie, if I'm right, you can DM me. Just DM me, I won't tell anybody, I promise. You can tell I won't tell anybody because I said it out loud, and that's the most trustworthy thing. Yeah, I think it's critiquing woke moralism, unless we read this very literally and it's just about some random Christian cult, which wouldn't be very interesting. And it doesn't seem like it accounts for all of the imagery that we've talked about thus far. Like, I know Ollie has been very outspoken as being anti-religion and pro-atheist. I mean, he made a few songs about it as well, but he did spend a month with monks not too long ago. And it seems like that probably changed his perspective, where at least he has a little bit more understanding and respect for religion now. So I'm doubtful this is a reversion back to the church bad stuff, since that'd really just be retreading ground he's already been over. In context of their first single, Amen, this interpretation does link up with critiquing Puritanism and with the social ostracization that comes from it. Ostracization. How the fuck do I say this word? Ostracization. Ostracization. This is a fake word. This is not a real word. How the fuck do I write like this? And that puritanical culture that these songs are critiquing seems to crop up a lot more publicly with the online woke crowd. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. And frankly, in our modern culture, the lyrics just seem most relevant to wokeism as opposed to American Christianity or corporate America. The Amen song doesn't really apply to corporate America, and Christianity isn't really the zeitgeist right now, but toxic online culture certainly is. So what do you think? Am I wrong? What did I miss? Let me know in those comments down below. All right, let's take a listen to this track. That's a sick tone. That's weird. Okay, obviously that's not actually how the song goes, but I did just think it was funny that it just very much reminded me of Dragula. It actually reminds me a little bit of Hybrid Theory. It reminds me of Paper Cut, and that's also in the same key too. It has that level of intensity. It has that like thin rasp in the vocals that's still intense, kind of like the Mike Shinoda thing, or even like Chester Bennington, God rest him. Simple riff. All right, before we get to the chorus, I did want to mention on the production, a lot of saturation happening, a lot of character plugins for sure, probably real hardware as well. But the way that they have the mix pumping makes it almost feel kind of like chewy and liquid, which is kind of interesting. I know there's a lot of bands that try to do this these days. I don't know. I feel like these guys do it better than most. It doesn't feel completely plastic like pop, but there's definitely a plastic element to it. 'Cause you got to now, drink the Koolaid by the jug. So the bass is moving 3, 4, 1, but I'm not sure if that's actually what the chords are. Those might be inversions, because part of me, it's giving me a certain, I haven't sat down and like analyzed this. It's giving me a little bit of like 6, 4, 1. And while this song is in some Phrygian minor type of thing going on here, they do sit down and hit that major, that relative major 1 chord, which gives it a little bit of that like a little bit of like a breath of openness. I dig that. Great top line. This is gonna end in tears. I get it. I get it. You're appealing to fucking teenage girls. I get it. Can you just like, I don't know, just try to not. Sonically, it sounds great. And it's a great vocal performance, but it also makes me go, ugh. This is not how men do things. Cool alternative in verse 2. Okay, I'm curious what they did here to get this tone. Because I'm hearing, okay, we were wide on the guitars, you know how you do it. And now there's like things coming in and out. And it's definitely not quite as present, like EQ wise or like, you know, amp knob wise. There's not as much presence happening. It's a little bit grimier and pissed and fucking full-throated. I'm really curious what they did there. It's hard for me to hear in these fucking cans. That little oh right before hanging over into the chorus. Nice, like that. Kind of like an alternative to the intro riff. Doing more of that stereotypical emo, scary horrorcore kind of thing.
I've never been on live television before.
Where you just have this really rough voice that's over-exaggerating all of the words, and especially the prosody. Prosody, for anyone who doesn't know.
I'm gay.
Everyone was expecting a breakdown, right? Fuck off! Now we get that halftime. And of course, you have the first part down chorus, like we always do, right? I gotta say, was not expecting a solo. Very happy we got a solo. And the solo kind of reminded me of like early Sinister Gates. That was pretty sick, dude. The tone, the phrasing was very City of Evil, for sure. Double timing the chorus. Okay. Wouldn't have been my personal choice, but it's a cool way to split it up. And then doing the thing, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Doing the thing. The thing that we all do, right? I really like how that snare hits. I don't know what they did to it differently at that section than they did the previous sections, but it's got some piss and vinegar. This shit's wild. Love it. I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. I want to feel that fucking snare again. It might just be the kick drum hitting at the same time as the snare. That might be what it is.
Well, if it's like...
That's the song. That's the whole thing. Nope, there's more. There's randomly more, even though that was very obviously the end of the song. What do you have for us, boys? Thanks, I hate it! All right, so this seems to be another track that's reaffirming their return to their roots, this kind of hardcore metalcore thing that's fused with synthesis and electronic. It's a strong chorus that I think really sticks with you the more you listen to it. It's not this junky, hyper-repetitive pop choruses that we hear sometimes in this genre. And I mean, okay, can we just say this really quick? There's so many of these guys in the metalcore and gent and just all that emo adjacent bullshit that really do want this like poppy sound in a chorus. And they use some of the micro moves as far as the little micro phrases, but then the way they assemble it, it's just so not fucking memorable at all. I'm just like, give me something I'm gonna sing back to you instantly, please. You know, like that's what a chorus is for. And I would say this chorus does a good job of being memorable without just being weighed down by so many tropes. I mean, you're gonna use a trope or two, you know, it's gonna happen. But it's got some freshness to it. I didn't like fall in love with it, but it's good. Part of me wants more intensity in that vocal performance in the chorus, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know, it actually makes more sense that they pulled it back and did this like quasi head voice, almost falsetto type of thing, because there is so much intensity happening in the verse. It gives you a nice contrast when you finally hit that chorus. It didn't have that stereotypical breakdown section with this random boring fucking rhythms, which to me was an absolute breath of relief. Yeah, this is a solid track. I mean, super well produced and mixed. Many trad metalheads are going to hate the hyperpop elements of this, but from a hyperpop perspective, I think this is a really smart production and arrangement. Blumph are one of the few bands who I think actually pull off this fusion of pop and metal well. It doesn't feel forced or cheesy, even though it does drip, just totally drips with this crusty, frail emo boy attitude. And it's just such a turnoff to me. That's personal preference, right? Sonically, hits the ears really nice, exciting, fun, dark, tons of dynamic. I would not mind listening to this track. Good job, Blumph. All right, like this is really bothering me. My dad joke energy cannot handle this anymore. We gotta find some alternative names for BMTH. All right, let's see. Beat, many, trashy, homeless. Promising. Bug meat, tasty, humane. ESG friendly. Bowel movement that's heavy. That's how some trad metalheads might describe this. Or the absolute classic. Bestiality mothers thrust hangers. Some metalheads may consider Blumph a guilty pleasure, and like I totally get that. I do kind of get that soft, guilty feeling while listening to this, almost like it's an affront to my masculinity. There's nothing wrong with having guilty pleasures. I mean, I have a ton of them, although as a music snob, you will never know what those are. The fuck is this doing? Okay, look, this is nothing. Pay no attention to this. This is a long time ago. I made this. Do not click on this video. Absolutely, please do not click